Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Wednesday, August 31st. Over the next several days, going into all of next week, very hot temperatures will continue to affect the Great Basin with well above normal temperatures region-wide and near record temperatures, especially over the northern half of the Great Basin. Winds today will increase over parts of western and northern Nevada into Idaho with gusts in the mid-20s. However, on Thursday, we will see an increase in winds over parts of southern and eastern Idaho into Wyoming with some gusts around or just above 30 miles per hour. Many of these stronger winds will be south of our current large fires, but again, we will see winds increasing on Thursday and then decrease again on Friday. Over the last 24 hours, just a few lightning strikes with an upper level wave that moved through yesterday over southwest Idaho into northeast Nevada. And Great Basin fire activity yesterday was light, with only about 7 new fires reported across the Great Basin, which stayed on the smaller side. However, we did have some growth on our large fires up in Idaho, just with the dry conditions and very hot temperatures. Over the last 7 days, very dry conditions have continued over central and southwest Idaho into northern and western Nevada, and even areas further east certainly saw a decrease in precipitation over the last couple of days. Currently, our ERCs continue to climb across the Great Basin and have now risen to well above normal in central Idaho again, and will likely be approaching the 90th percentile here in a day or two. Similar conditions over western Nevada, ERCs have risen to again above normal. 100-hour fuel moisture continues to drop as well, especially over western and northern areas of the Great Basin to that critical level below 5%. Our satellite loop from this morning shows that strong ridge of high pressure in place over the west, which again is responsible for our very hot temperatures. There is an area of low pressure off the west coast, and we will see some weak impulses moving around that ridge, giving us some fluctuations in our temperature and some cloud cover here and there, but generally dry conditions and hot temperatures will continue going into the early part of next week. So for later today, you can see that ridge in place with the very dry conditions, so our high risk will continue for the next week over Idaho for those hot temperatures near and above records in some areas, along with very dry conditions, which will certainly affect our ongoing large fires in Idaho and still gives us the potential to stir up new holdovers. Otherwise, we will see gradual drying from west to east across the Great Basin. Thunderstorms today, very minimal. We could see some buildups up in the Salmon Chalice with a weak upper level wave moving through later today. Couldn't rule out maybe a lightning strike, but for the most part could see some buildups, and those could produce some gusty outflow winds even in the absence of lightning. Otherwise, west winds will pick up along the Sierra Front into northern Nevada and southwest Idaho, with again most of the gusts in the low to mid-20s. Relative humidity today will remain in the single digits to teens across the region. As we move into Thursday, again, that dry air really starts to enhance across the northern half of the Great Basin with our continued high risk for Idaho for the hot and dry conditions. And you can see from the significant fire potential, we have a lot more areas in the moderate risk category over Nevada into even northwest Utah with that drying. Relative humidity, no big change here with single digits, a little bit more widespread across the Great Basin. However, winds on Thursday will increase over southern and eastern Idaho into Wyoming, possibly even northern Utah, and then even increase back towards our large fires in central Idaho. But the strongest gusts will be a little bit further south with gusts mainly in the low to mid 30s. So again, if we do see any new starts in these areas where the winds will be gusty with the very dry conditions, certainly the potential for some spread. So we move into Friday, very similar pattern. Still high risk again for the hot and dry conditions up north. We will continue to see these record temperatures again also down into western and northern Nevada and into northern Utah as well. Relative humidity stays in the single digits, and winds on Friday still a little bit breezy in far northwest Nevada, possibly along the Sierra Front, but again nothing too different from what we'll see here the next couple of days. No issues with precipitation over the next few days with dry conditions. This pattern continues into the holiday weekend. Again, very hot, dry conditions and moderate risk of large fire continues to spread eastward. We'll see even significant drying over parts of Utah and even over southern areas of the Great Basin. But again, still our most critical areas will remain over northern and western areas of the Great Basin. No issues with stronger winds over the holiday weekend, but again, these hot and dry conditions will continue going into early next week. Forecast amounts of precipitation, could see a few isolated thunderstorms developing in the far southern areas going into next week, but again, any strong push of monsoon moisture is not expected over the next 7 days. The 8 to 14 day outlook, taking us from September 7th through the 13th, still shows warm and dry conditions, especially over the northern areas of the Great Basin, but certainly closer to mid-September, we will be expecting that moisture to return to southern areas. Could even push a little bit further north, but in any case, we will at least see some relief to our far south. Still expecting those warm and dry conditions further north. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.